now I'm starting to buy cards for no reason at all and just having a drawer full. Because my irritation is, oh, somebody's birthday this week. I gotta go get a card. Well, if you get a box of cards, Crystal just write the card out, put the stamp on it, and let it go. Then you're not stressed and having anxiety, you haven't missed it. So
I'm
those
so
are
proud.
things that
My sister's growing.
yeah,
I know it's
those are
serious.
things
Like she'll
that
call
I
me and
really
be like,
not
I need
get.
your
But
help.
that let me know that that
Yes.
was a language that I was not as proficient in. It's like going to Europe. You could speak 5 languages, being on a train through Europe. You're going to France. You're going to Germany. You might hit Italy. You know, you have the UK. So you need, even if it's not your language, there's a dialect of the language. Because you know, people in Britain, they speak the same English. Essentially, it's just a different accent. So you've got to really master your work in terms of the relationships in all levels of your life. But that love language book is very key to helping you understand, okay, if I'm always operating out of acts of service, if I'm doing stuff for people all the time, then I'm mad and I'm resentful because I'm tired and they need something else. But no one is giving back to me in that language. So now I know, okay, this is what I need to do to be proficient in all of the language.
Right. And to turn it, to change the channel to more of an African-centered outlook, like it's understanding as well how to communicate heart to heart, spirit to spirit, what you need. And then discerning what the intent is once you put that out there. And I'm speaking in a healthy way, right? So all communication is healthy. It's supposed to be productive. It's supposed to be effective. Because a part of communication is listening. The greatest part of communication is the nonverbal. So the intuition is important. The spiritual process is important. So it's seeing what's going on as people say what they say, right? For communication to happen properly. It's being able to listen and see what the full thought is. And then the latter part is the response to all of the things that you witnessed or were a part of previously.
Okay, can you put that in like an equation? Put it on a shirt. Put it on social media. Right to what you said. Right to what you said about in the beginning about men thinking they know what we want.
Right.
It's the breakdown in that equation itself. You're hearing me, but you're not listening.
Right.
Or you're listening, but you're not hearing. Or you feel as if because I said this in this scenario that, ma'am, no, the bathroom is over there to the right. It's okay. But what you believe is because I responded to this person this way, that I know she gonna say this when I say it. No, you're a whole different person. It's a whole different scenario, and that's where the manipulation comes in. And my experience, not just in my own personal relationships, what I've seen in couples, is that the men really, really fuck up when they think that they know. Oh, I know she gonna say this. I know she gonna do this. No, you don't.
Oh,
just because you saw me act with my sister this way or my cousin this way, that's their experience with me. That's not my experience with you. You come with a whole different thing. So don't sit here and, well, I didn't want to tell you because I didn't want you to get upset because last time you did. No, just tell me. Just come to me the way we come to each other. That ain't got nothing to do with nobody else. But if that equation is applied in every situation, then it's almost always guaranteed that you'll get it right. But when you go in there based on last month, last year, even this morning, before I had my coffee, because folks know if I don't have my coffee, it's gonna be
It's a problem.
It's a problem. But now that I got my coffee and a little, little libation, I might be open to something else. I'm just saying. That's how we are, and I believe men need to hear that and know that equation on communication. Because a lot of times in my personal experience, we've talked about, oh, we need to communicate, Okay, but effective communication.
Right.
There's nonverbal verbal communication happening all the time, but it ain't getting us nowhere.
Right.
Sometimes I just shut up and I shut down, and I'm learning how not to do that. But until I know how to effectively communicate, I'd rather just stop. Because we just gonna keep going back because we both want to be right. We both want to have the last word. We both giving a perspective, and we ain't getting nowhere but angry. And then we have sex out of anger, which might be great. But the next morning, that issue is still there.
Right, it's still
So,
there.
And I ask this, so in terms of that, what do you think, or y'all think about these men that are so like effeminate, that wants to just
so
argue with you?
Can you say that again? So I missed what the description.
Men that are just so effeminate.
Uh-huh.
So you're arguing and they're just not standing in that role of their masculinity. They're feeding it. They're with you. They're with you. You know, like that's annoying to me.
I think that's what.
I never thought of that as being effeminate.
I think I was about to say. I think that's what you said in my perspective about that trauma.
Wow.
Right. It really is. Like if you can't, like a woman that wants to argue, we're not gonna win. That's just what it is, because we're not gonna be as attached to the situation emotionally, because most of us are not emotionally available. So we're not gonna win. So it's now you step into what you're saying. That male role is saying, okay, we're not getting anywhere. It's time for problem solving.
Yes.
Right? Like it's time for logic, it's time for logistics, it's time for me to put on this man hat. Okay, let me step back. I've been drawn into that. This is something that's not going to serve any of us. Like I say oftentimes, me and my wife, we don't argue. Since we've been together, I've known this woman since 2011 and we haven't had one argument.
Wow.
So when people hear that, they're like, Sinsear, you bullshit. Now, I didn't say we don't disagree. It's in how we disagree, right? I don't always like what my wife has to say, but I'm a male. So she's coming from a feminine perspective, which I can't own, right? So it's understanding that. Like I am a man, I have masculine energy, which she can't own. Like she has it, but it's the smallest part of her. So I create that balance, and she creates my balance. So with me knowing that, like when it comes to something that she's saying, I'm like, damn, I don't like that, but let me step back and deal with how I feel about it. Then let's have a conversation about it, so I can see more what you're saying, where you're coming from, so I can use it, right? But I have to take that moment to pause and say, let me deal with how I feel about this, right? Now let's have a conversation about it.
But this is coming from your more evolved self.
Right? Yeah.
And this is what we are having a challenge with, is because we're still dealing with men that have not had that involvement.
Right.
They've been involved in a whole lot of relationships, like women in some cases, and so they taking soul ties, and they got ropes now.
Right.
With all these links and it's just you coming with it. And I say from a man, because we're talking about what do men need to know, they're coming with all these spiritual, emotional soul ties to us, and oftentimes think that because we're just a woman, that we want the same thing, we like the same thing, we want to hear the same thing, and I have had to tell brothers oftentimes, bruh, I do not operate like that.
Right.
I need for you to understand that just as I am different from the last one, I am really different. Not just in my name, not in just my looks, not in any of that. I am different. And so I need you to be able to shift how you deal with me. I don't, and I'm going to give I like to give examples so brothers will know this don't work with all women. All that licking the lips and like, all that, I don't like it. I don't like it.
Baby, you like when I lick my lips?
That's feminine to me.
But
I always tell people. I'm not homophobic.
I don't like
I
that.
always said LL Cool J.
I don't like the calling me sexy. And I'm going to give a premise behind it, because some men think that it's like when you said the brother got upset with you, didn't want to be. I told the brother, I said, I don't like being called sexy. Because if you've had sexual assaults, your word calling me sexy has the root of sex. And you don't know me like that.
Right.
So to call me sexy, I would correct the man and say, I appreciate what you probably thought it would mean to me.
Right.
But it doesn't resonate with me.
That makes sense.
So I had one brother get upset with me because I told him, he's like, well, I didn't mean it in a bad way. I said, and I didn't say that you did, but I receive it that way.
Right.
it's received in such a way that when you do all these gestures that may work for somebody who off the bat wants you to lick your lips and call you sexy, that's not me. And so let's first discern who I am. Just if my energy doesn't let that off, don't assume that that's what I like.
Right.
But that's all about communication, because see, I could see where you could say that to some men, because men approach you all kind of ways, but when you tell them that's what you don't like or what it means to you, he could completely just be so happy, because that's not really him anyway. He figures that's what women want to hear, and that gives him a chance now to say, wow. And just like Sinsear felt about his wife, I mean, before they were, just friends, he saw things in her because of her self-respect and because how she felt and carried herself. It was something that he really
Resonated
desired
differently.
in a mate. And I think with us as people, even in my trying to research how to approach changing these negative images that are being put out to young women and men, one of the things I realized is that I watched this documentary on the reunion with Friends, the girlfriends, and they were talking about all these roles they had to play, Tracy Ellis Ross, and how they just had some problems with certain images and things they had to portray. And then I realized that they have the European system. We've
Yes.
gotten away from ourselves.
Yes.
They have given us these identities.
Yes.
Of course.
These identities, these uniforms, these things, and we step into our young girls from high school,
Yes.
even preteen, they see these identities, and they
And
figure,
put it on.
hey, I gotta be this. I gotta
Yes.
have the hair, the nails, the this, the that, to be a woman. Now, and the men have a certain role, and so what it is that we have lost our connection with our own identity. We have to have conversations. Where I appreciate what Sinsear and Jewel are doing.
Yes.
It's a chance. We need to have a lot more dialogues like this that are televised and people can see, because we don't even know who we are. We're following somebody else's identity, and a lot of men are trying to do all the things they think women want, and that's not what they want. So it's a chance to school the brothers and not necessarily be so, you're offended at first, but realizing how much as men and women we are just we don't even know who we are.
But that's where the patience come in too, because even like what you stated, I did let them know. I didn't come off like out of, but I was just like that doesn't work for me. But that is an educating moment for us both to be able to say, you know what, I know y'all probably think we all like this X, Y, Z,
Yeah.
but not all of us do. I like for a brother to have a sense of like calm. I need calm to my storms. I can be kind of, out, but I need a man who can process and say, you know what, I like that edge, but I need to be able to know when my baby needs to be like,
Right. Yeah.
and vice versa.
See what you're talking about. Like you said that I'm more evolved. Like the evolution process, and I share this with my young homies. The evolution process is continuing.
Yes.
Like I haven't arrived, and I'm sure my wife will tell you that. Like I don't ever want to come off as this cat that got it all figured out, because I don't. But what I am is willing to grow and willing to be better. Whether it's 0.1% today, like I'm willing to take that leap. And that's what I share with my young homies, to take away the pressure. Like just decide to be better, right? And this is what that means. Like there is a rhythm to that.
Yes.
Like rhythm, that's a universal principle, right? So just be willing to be better. Be willing to listen. Not be as reactive, because that's a sign of immaturity, not maturity, right? So you can't be drawn into an argument. You have to decide to participate in one. See what I mean? So I don't desire to argue with my wife because I value her. I value how she feels. I value her mind. Like I understand what an argument today may do for her tomorrow or next week or next month or next year, right? Because I understand the value of words. Like I study etymology, I'm a spoken word artist, but I know men a lot of men may not be that articulate, but what you can do is feel, right? Like what you can do is be engaged in who your woman is and what you need to be for that woman.
And I think that's all we really want. I think as people, I don't even want to make the divide between what a man wants, what a woman wants. I think we all have an innate